This is Frank Demora, connecting the dots between the words of Jesus Christ concerning these last days. And this past 3 weeks, I've been giving you warnings about the warnings Jesus told us about the famines in the last days, the increase in the food prices, if you will, as recorded by the Lord, as we see in Revelation 6:6, where he's talking about the wheat and the barley. And we know from the book of Revelation that the people will be working all day long for one small meal. And since 2008, as you see here in one of my prophecy sites, BibleProphecyMan.com, April the 23rd of 2008, I began to warn you about the price increases in wheat. As you can see right here, I started to list the different news articles that you should be watching because I knew that the prices would be skyrocketing. Here's another one, price of oil, and of course now it's out of sight because the birth pangs are out of sight, getting worse. There's another one, the food cost rising faster in 17 years. And just about every single year I've given you more warnings about the skyrocketing food prices. Here's another one of my warnings. I'm taking you back now to December 15th of 2009. And back then, you could stop the video, if you will, and read what I wrote. But essentially, making it short for you, I was telling you that in the future, the prices will continue to skyrocket. And over the years, as I said over and over again, I've been warning you, keep your eyes on the news because the trend for the skyrocketing prices would continue. But this is really important, but I do want to read this. It says in the book of Mark, chapter 13:8, it states, "Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places and famines. These are the beginning of birth pangs." Jesus makes it very clear that in the last days, the nations of the world will go through birth pangs, and part of these troubles or birth pangs would be, take a look, famine, hunger, and civil wars, where nation would not only be fighting against other nations, but that they would be fighting against themselves as well. Essentially, that's what we're seeing with the Russians and the Ukrainians. They're one people that split up, but now the invasion by Putin into Ukraine, not only are we seeing a nation fighting against the other nation, but really they're fighting against their own people who split. And there is another list, continued list, as I continue to post about the wheat prices that would be going up. This is from August the 3rd of 2010. This is from 21, August the 23rd. Your food prices are skyrocketing. Here's why. Food prices skyrocketing continued. And now the most recent, when you go over to my websites, you visit my YouTube channel, you'll see the skyrocketing the food prices as Jesus warned. March 4th, 2022, I made another one on March 9th, and then I posted on March 12th some other information. So the reason why I'm doing this is because all the way back from 2008 until now, the warnings that I have been giving to you haven't come just from Frank Demora. They are warnings from Jesus Christ. They are warnings about birth pangs of the last days. And without a question, as I said a few days ago, we're in the midst of those birth pangs. Now, the news is really helping me get my message out that Jesus Christ has given to me. And when I say given to me, he's actually given it to everybody who's read his word. I'm no one special. All I know is I'm reading his word. I understand what he is saying. I understand the warnings, and I'm taking them seriously. And I'm pointing out these things that he had given to me to give to you, and hope that you would listen to what the Lord has to say. Now, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago before this news came out that I'm going to show you from ABC. I was telling you isolated items that were causing the prices of food to go up, as I have been warning. And then this ABC News article came out. It's a video which I want to show you. And actually, it's almost duplication of what I told you about the coming prices that would be increasing and why. So I want to play this for you in case you haven't seen it, in hopes that it will encourage you to start paying attention to the warnings Jesus Christ has given to us. Because without a doubt, we're seeing a major war being played out right now. Jesus warned that we would see war. We've already had those rumors, and now there's war. Now the rumors are, is it going to escalate into World War III? Well, if the Lord said that there'd be birth pangs, we should accept two things. Number one, will we have a short break as a woman in labor has? In other words, those pains will stop for a very short time, but then when they start up again, they're going to be ranched up, magnified, to the point where almost that baby is born. And so at this point, we're waiting to see, is it another huge birth pain that's actually going to deliver? Or will there be a short span of time where things calm down? But the way things are going now with Russia invading Ukraine, it doesn't look good. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But watch the news, how they talk about the skyrocketing food prices and why.
Farmers already feeling the pinch from supply chain issues and labor costs. Now sanctions against Russia sending gas prices soaring and putting an even greater strain on some of them. Some say it's just a matter of time before those hikes are passed down to the consumer. ABC's Deirdre Bolton is here with that story. Deirdre, good morning.
Good morning. From corn to wheat to other grains, commodity prices are soaring, and that means higher grocery prices around the world. As consumers feel the effect of prices at the pump,
it's ridiculous.
Farmers, already reeling from high labor costs and supply chain shortages, are now feeling the crunch.
We were probably spending $3,500 a month on fuel before the prices have started going crazy, and now we're looking at, getting over $5,000 a month in fuel.
Fuel for farmers is essential, powering tractors, agricultural pumps, and the farming equipment needed to harvest crops and feed Americans. The war in Ukraine proving to be fertile ground for higher costs.
We know that the Ukraine thing's been driving up fuel prices.
Russia, the largest global exporter of fertilizer, now temporarily halting those exports, pushing this Nebraska farmer to the brink.
We've never seen these type of increases in fertilizer. You're talking 300-400% increases in a 14-month period.
DAP fertilizer priced at $879 a ton this month, much higher than the $609 rate last year. In March 2020, 1 ton cost only $409. This California farmer says the skyrocketing prices may force him to sit on the sidelines.
We may just take a year off and just let the trees be the trees that they are. I think we're just kind of have to roll the dice.
Higher fuel prices for farmers could mean a further increase in already soaring grocery prices. Industry experts warn consumers currently dealing with sticker shock at the supermarket may need to brace themselves for even higher shipping and food costs.
Trying to find where to cut back, but groceries are high, gas is high, and there's nowhere to run.
Before I go on to this next section, there may be people who don't know what Revelation 6:6 says. You look to the left of the screen, you'll see it under that black horse, and it says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Those are 2 of the categories that Jesus listed that would be causing massive problems in the last days, along with many, many other things. And what we know, as I've been warning, this word of the Lord reveals to us that people will be working all day long for one meal, one small meal, not for a family, just for one person. So much of the world will be in a hunger crisis, starving, lack of food. and in the midst of wartime besides. So now I want to bring you up to date with something else that just appeared. I found this article on March the 4th of 2022 with the headline, Food Crisis Imminent. Hungary bans all grain exports effective immediately. So Russia and Ukraine, two of the most influential nations who produce many of the grains that are exported to many parts of the world, now we see another nation, Hungary, stopping the exports, and this is going to cause major problems. It says those who have it are no longer giving it away, and those that don't soon will find themselves in the middle of an epic food crisis. Does that sound familiar? What Jesus has been warning about? You better believe it does. Just hours after reported that Russia effectively banned exports of fertilizers, which is a major component in producing crops, moments ago, Hungary, one of Europe's most grain-rich nations, has circled the wagons and realizing which way the wind is blowing, just announced that it will be banning all grain exports effective immediately in a statement. Now, get this. Expect, what did Jesus talk about? Wheat prices already at record highs to promptly double from here in the next few weeks as the world realizes the extent of the global food crisis that is coming. Our suggestion, now take a look at this, buy flour, rice, remember Revelation 6:6, interesting, barley and other grains you can now, rather than waiting 1 month to buy them because you have to. Now in this article it lists all of the nations that rely on the Russian and Ukrainian wheat. You'll see them here. You could read this article for yourself, but the fact of the matter is what we are seeing is identical. I want to stress this, identical to what Jesus warned would happen in the time that the nation of Israel was standing as a nation again. Believe it because it's happening. If you take time to read Matthew chapter 24, where Jesus lists all of the different signs that would be happening, not separately, but all at once, then you get the full picture of how close we are to the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. One of the components listed in Matthew chapter 24, along with all of the other signs, has to do with earthquakes. And in my book, you'll see all of the earthquakes that have been listed over the years that are very strong in magnitude of 6.0 or greater. And I just want to show you here the latest ones. Here's the earthquake, 6.3 magnitude strikes the Philippines. And this just happened. And here's another one, strong and shallow, 6.7 magnitude earthquake hits the coast of West Sumatra, Indonesia. And there are many articles just listed today in this website about the drought. And of course, this again is one of the many signs Jesus talked about. Look at this extreme drought situation increasing. More than 60% of mainland Portugal was in extreme drought at the end of February, and 29.3% in severe drought. There's another one. Another drought begins in west central Texas. Boat access on drought-plagued Missouri. So state after state. Look at this. How many people have been coming over to my website? I've been showing you the mass numbers of animals that are dying off as prophesied. Look at this. 2.8 million fowl, mostly chickens and turkeys, have died in the first month of America's raging new bird flu pandemic. So there you have it. Please follow the news. And if you know the word of the Lord, you'll be able to connect those dots. And if you'd like me to help you during this time to connect those dots while you're reading the Bible, please visit my website, follow my YouTube channel, because things are going to ratchet up from here on in. I've been saying that every single year, and we're seeing it take place. So again, I want to thank everyone who's been following me all the way since 2008 up until now. Those of you who have been coming to my websites and been watching my YouTube channels, you know how critical this news is. Not just to harbor it within yourselves, but to begin to spread this news to other people so they are not caught unaware. God bless.